let's talk about this quiet but absolutely massive shift that's been happening between generations. It's a change in behavior you've probably seen, in your friends, your family, maybe even in yourself. We're going to explore what our source material calls the unique operating system of the 30-something mind. So, right off the bat, I want you to ask yourself something. As I go through some of these common traits on the next slide, just think, does this sound familiar at all? Okay, think about this. Avoiding really deep personal contact. Definitely preferring to send a perfectly crafted text over a messy, spontaneous phone call. That constant feeling of being too busy for everything. And, being extra sensitive to criticism. Ring any bells? Because according to our source, this isn't just a random list of quirks. It's a pattern, and it all points back to one single root cause. See, these behaviors, they're really just symptoms of something much, much deeper. They're all part of what we could call the 30-something dilemma. And the whole thing stems from a really fundamental change in how we connect with reality itself. So you gotta ask, where is all this coming from? Well, the source material we're digging into today says the answer is in this really powerful idea, a shift in our personal interface with the world. Let's break down exactly what that means. To really get this, we have to understand this core concept of the interface. It's kind of the key that unlocks almost everything we've talked about so far. Okay, so what is the interface? Well, imagine your awareness is like a personal energy field, like a bubble around you. And traditionally, that bubble was shaped by stuff you could physically touch and see. Your family, your close friends, the town you lived in. Your reality was defined by who was physically there. And this is the big shift. We've gone from a local interface, shaped by who's in the room with us, to a non-local one. Now our personal bubble is plugged into this giant collective digital field 24/7. And that one change, well, it pretty much explains everything. Now, what's fascinating is how this new reality creates a sort of law of digital resonance. Let's use this idea to go back and make sense of those specific behaviors we started with. Let's start with a classic, the phone call avoidance. Seriously, why is texting so much more comfortable for so many people in this generation? The answer, in one word, is energy. A phone call is incredibly expensive, energetically. It demands your full attention, your raw, real-time thoughts, your vulnerability. Texting, on the other hand, is cheap. It's not happening in real time. You can manage your energy, craft the absolute perfect response, and basically control your side of the interface. It's a low-risk, low-energy deal. Okay, so let's apply that same logic to another behavior, our tendency to follow influencers. Why is it so easy to get pulled into what they're doing? Well, this is where that idea of resonance really comes into play. The source material gives this a name, morphic resonance. But don't get hung up on the term. The concept is actually super simple. Think of it like this. It's way, way easier to tune your car radio to the strongest station on the dial than it is to build your own radio transmitter from scratch, right? So here's how that plays out. An influencer starts broadcasting a really powerful, clear signal, a certain lifestyle, a point of view. As more people tune in, that signal just gets stronger and stronger, hitting a critical mass. Now, if you're feeling a bit lost or unsure, creating your own signal from scratch feels exhausting. It's so much easier to just tune into that powerful, pre-existing frequency. And the payoff is instant. You get a sense of direction, a community, and validation. So, if we're busy curating our own little reality and resonating with these clear signals, what happens when a signal comes along that we absolutely do not like? This brings us right to that super sensitivity to criticism. In this way of thinking, criticism is just a dissonant frequency. It's like loud radio static that just blasts through the carefully curated signal of your interface. And when you're not used to generating your own stable signal, that static doesn't just feel like feedback. It feels like a direct, overwhelming attack on your entire reality. Now, this whole digital shift and the struggle to maintain a coherent signal, it has a very real, very tangible cost. And it often shows up most clearly in our relationship with money. And this leads to what the source calls a financial paradox. On one hand, you see people spending huge amounts on incredible experiences, like big trips and concerts. But on the other hand, there's this constant state of being broke, and often carrying debt. It's the definition of sending out a mixed, or what you'd call an incoherent signal. And this quote from the source just nails it. Zij trekken de ervaring van rijkdom aan, maar niet de conditie van rijkdom.
They're resonating with the frequency of adventure and abundance, so they attract those experiences into their lives. But their underlying financial state is one of lack, so they never actually achieve the condition of being wealthy. It's a really profound incoherence.
So, after hearing all this, it would be really easy to get critical, right? But the source material is very clear about this. This is not about judgment. It's about understanding a brand new kind of challenge. And this is the key takeaway. None of these behaviors are some kind of moral failing or a character flaw. They're a logical, even if sometimes painful, adaptation to navigating a completely new and complex digital world that no generation before ever had to deal with. So the path forward isn't criticism, it's empowerment. The solution is in self-mastery. It's about consciously learning how to manage and tune your own interface, to decide for yourself what frequency you really want to be broadcasting to the world. Which, of course, leaves us with the final and maybe the most important question of all. It's not about logging off, it's about learning to engage on your own terms. So how do you actively tune your own interface to create a signal that is powerful, coherent, and truly, genuinely your own?